Whether you're stuck in traffic, hitting the gym, or just winding down, we're here to spill the hottest tea from your favorite Bravo shows. From the wildest reunions to the quietest social media unfollows, we cover it all. So welcome back to Reality TV Podcast and Clips. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Let's get into it on 3, 2, 1.
We absolutely are. And the source material we're looking at today paints a really jarring picture of reality television right now.
How so?
Well, we're seeing these stars who are grappling with two completely different realities at the same time.
Okay.
So on one hand, you have this escalating, very real, very concrete legal and financial peril. I mean, we have actual court filings, we have confirmed eviction notices, hard trial dates.
Stuff you can't just spin for a storyline.
Exactly. But then on the other hand, the sources are detailing this calculated, almost strategic nature of the conflicts and the relationships they create for the cameras, even casting shifts.
Right, the manufactured side of it.
Precisely. So our mission in this deep dive is to really distill these concrete facts. We're talking precise debts, specific court maneuvers, these accusations of behind-the-scenes orchestration, to give you a full picture of where the reality TV world stands right now, financially, legally, and of course, dramatically.
Okay, let's unpack this. And I think we have to start with that first part, the high price of fame. We have to go to Beverly Hills because the documents we're looking at detailing these financial crises, they're staggering. We're starting with Denise Richards and Aaron Pfeiffer's.
Yeah, and this is so much more than just a messy divorce. This is an actual adjudicated eviction.
A judge has signed off on this.
The judge has signed off. A Los Angeles Superior Court judge recently ruled completely in favor of the landlord. This confirms the eviction of Denise Richards and her estranged spouse, Aaron Pfeiffer's, from that Calabasas rental home.
And this is the home where Aaron and his family had been living, right?
That's right. He and his family had remained there.
So what was the specific amount of unpaid rent? Because the numbers here are, well, they're hard to ignore.
So the total confirmed debt that triggered the eviction was $84,000.
$84,000.
$84,000 in past due rent. And what's crucial here is that the ruling confirmed both Denise and Aaron are on the hook for the entire amount.
So it's joint and several liability.
Exactly. The landlord is also seeking attorney's fees and, on top of that, compensation for property damages.
Wow. So even though Denise is out there saying she hasn't actually lived in that, I mean, it's a beautiful $3 million home for the last 2 years.
Right. She moved out during their separation.
But the fact that her name is on that original lease from, what, June 2020?
Yeah.
That ties her to all of this.
That is the cold, hard logic of contract law. It doesn't matter where you sleep at night. She signed the lease, which means she is legally responsible for making sure the rent gets paid.
Even if she, delegated that to Aaron and his family who were still there.
Precisely. She did, however, put down a pretty significant security deposit at the beginning.
How much was that?
It was $24,000.
Okay, so that's something.
It is, but that money is almost certainly gone now. It'll just be used to offset a fraction of that $84,000 debt. And what's more, she's kind of complicated her own position by publicly accusing Aaron's family of trashing the place.
Oh, right. So that damage claim from the landlord could actually be pretty substantial then.
It could be, and you can see why she's trying to distance herself. But like you said, that lease is a paper trail she just can't escape.
And now this eviction becomes a huge piece of leverage, right? Specifically for Aaron in their divorce proceedings.
Absolutely. It provides this really crucial, high-stakes context for a recent court filing he made. He's asking for spousal support from Denise.
And his argument is basically financial desperation.
Severe financial desperation. Get this, he claimed to the court that the debt is actually higher than the $84,000 in the eviction ruling.
Wait. He's claiming he owes more? What's his number?
He alleges he owes a staggering $125,000 in past due rent.
$125,000.
Yes. And on top of that, another $10,090 in past due HOA fees. So he's claiming a total overdue housing debt of over $135,000.
That's an incredible amount of money for someone who is simultaneously telling a judge they can't support themselves. What's the immediate risk he's claiming?
His claim is, it's dire. It sounds almost Dickensian. He told the court he is in, quote, literal danger of being made homeless with no vehicle and no cell phone.
So he's really painting a picture of complete destitution.
He is. It's a legal strategy, right? He's emphasizing this acute peril to try and get the hearing date moved up. He needs the court to intervene immediately to grant him access to what he calls substantial funds that are currently controlled by Denise.
The implication being she's cutting him off financially while he's facing the music for a debt they both created.
That's the narrative he's pushing. It's just It's fundamentally at odds with the whole image of Beverly Hills, isn't it? A $3 million home, a huge star on the lease, and the outcome is an $84,000 eviction and claims of homelessness.
It really shows the incredibly high stakes in these stars' personal financial lives.
It does. And if that wasn't enough financial drama for one franchise, we have to pivot immediately to Erika Jayne, because the years of, speculation and rumors about her $25 million lawsuit, they've just solidified into firm, unshakable trial dates.
The settlement talks are over.
They have officially collapsed.
That confirmation is huge. I mean, the idea that talks have, quote, broken down completely, that ends any possibility of a quiet resolution. It puts her front and center in a very public federal civil trial. Who confirmed the breakdown?
Attorney Ronald Richards. He's been covering the Thomas Girardi bankruptcy case very closely, and he confirmed the absolute breakdown of talks between Erika and the trustee, Alyssa D. Miller.
So the trustee, whose job is basically to get money back for the victims of Girardi's fraud,
Yeah.
she's confident enough to go to trial.
She is. She's foregoing a settlement, which tells you she believes her evidence is rock solid.
And we finally have a timeline. A definitive one, which is so rare in these long, drawn-out legal sagas. What are the key dates we need to circle on our calendars?
Okay, so the timeline is now crystal clear. The pretrial conference is set for January 21, 2026.
That's the last procedural step before the trial itself.
Right. And then the actual trial is scheduled to start on February 10th, 2026. This is why Ronald Richards commented that Erika now has, quote, little options. The path has narrowed dramatically, and it's heading straight for a courtroom.
So what's giving the trustee so much leverage right now? I mean, this case has been going on for years. Did something happen recently in a related case that strengthened her position?
That is the critical legal maneuver right here. Richards specifically pointed out that a motion was filed to, quote, gut any remaining defenses Erika had in the $25 million suit.
And where did that leverage come from?
It's being pulled directly from admissions Erika made in a separate but linked legal case. The $18 million lawsuit filed by the designer, Christopher Sala.
Okay, let's dig into that connection. Remind us what the Sala case is about, and then explain how admissions from that case can just dismantle her defenses in the main trustee case.
Okay, so the Sala case is this $18 million lawsuit from the designer. Erika was accused of falsely claiming that his design firm, Marco, made $800,000 in fraudulent charges on her Amex.
And this wasn't just about the money, right? The claims were really serious.
Incredibly serious. We're talking claims of extortion, defamation, and basically plotting to ruin the careers of Sala and the other designer, Marco Morante. Now, here's the link. When Erika gave testimony or made admissions defending herself against those charges, she may have been forced to state facts about her financial knowledge.
Like what she knew about her own money, or her use of funds, or her relationship with the Girardi firm's money.
Precisely. And if those admissions in the Sala case, let's say, about when she knew where certain money was coming from, if they contradict the defenses she's presenting in the big $25 million trustee case.
I see. Then the trustee can use that against her.
Exactly. The trustee can use a legal doctrine called judicial estoppel, or just use the admissions as ironclad evidence. Essentially, you cannot take one position under oath in one lawsuit and then take a contradictory position in a related lawsuit to benefit yourself.
So if she admitted in the Sala case, for instance, that she had signing power or knowledge of specific accounts tied to her husband's firm,
then that admission can be used against her in the trustee case to prove she knew, or at least should have known, that the money was tainted. And that just guts her entire defense that she was just an innocent victim who was unaware of Girardi's crimes.
So she's fighting a war on two fronts, and the evidence she provided to defend herself in one case is now being weaponized against her in the other.
That's it. And the collapse of those settlement talks, it really suggests the trustee believes this leveraged evidence is strong enough to secure a win in February 2026.
It just solidifies the fact that the legal jeopardy for Erika Jayne is not some hypothetical storyline for the show. It is a firm, looming deadline with enormous financial consequences.
It really does. I mean, these segments on Denise and Erika, they just highlight that while the cameras might be focused on, dinner parties and vacations, the underlying reality for these stars is one of severe financial and legal vulnerability.
That sets the stage perfectly for our transition into the next section. Because the stakes are high in the courtroom, but they are arguably just as high for a star's career longevity.
Yeah.
Their ability to just maintain their spot on the show.
Which brings us to the volatile housewives casting carousel and some pretty stunning behind-the-scenes confessions about how reality TV is actually manufactured.
This section really shows how intensely focused these stars are on internal politics and, really, narrative control. We're starting in Orange County with these persistent rumors that a major housewife might be losing her role to an OG.
And this whole thing kicked off with a comment from a Beverly Hills alum, of all people, Crystal Kung Minkoff.
Right. What exactly did she say that sparked this whole firestorm?
Well, Crystal, on her podcast, she claimed that when Vicki Gunvalson secured her big return to The Real Housewives of Orange County for season 20, she didn't just join the cast. She, quote, stole someone else's orange.
She was vague about who, though.
Very vague. But the implication was clear. A returning veteran had bumped a current cast member out of a full-time spot.
The idea of the orange as a literal thing that can be stolen is such a perfect metaphor for how cutthroat casting is. So who is brave enough to actually put a name to the person who supposedly lost their orange?
That was Shaw's of Sunset alum MJ Javid. She was a guest on Jeff Lewis Live, and she just came right out and named Heather Dubrow as the departing RHOC cast member.
And the reason was the return of the Tresmigas Vicki, Tamra, and Shannon.
Exactly. The claim was that bringing all three back meant someone had to go, and that someone was Heather.
Which immediately led to the crossover speculation, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if the glamorous, super wealthy Heather Dubrow is out of OC, why wouldn't she just slide over to the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills?
That suggestion came from Reza Farahàn, another Shaw's alum on the same show. And on paper, it makes a lot of sense. Heather's profile, her connections in LA.
Fits the bill.
She absolutely does. But MJ Javid strongly and immediately shot that down. Maybe based on, some inside knowledge about how Bravo liked to keep its franchises separate, or maybe just knowing that the RHOBH cast is already pretty stacked.
So we have a high-profile source kind of confirming Heather's potential OC exit, but then disagreement on where she might land. How did Tamra Judge react to this? I mean, it involves her best friend, Vicki, supposedly stealing the spot.
Tamra's reaction was very tactical. She confirmed she went straight to Crystal Kung Minkoff to make sure, quote, no, it was not my orange that was taken.
Okay, so she secured her own position first.
First thing. And once that was confirmed, she and Vicki Gunvalson mused about it on their podcast. They talked about Heather's departure or a potential crossover, and Vicki agreed that if Heather were indeed leaving OC, a move to Beverly Hills would only make sense.
It just underscores how hyper-aware the cast is of all the production moves and casting politics. They're not just reacting to what's happening on the show. They're actively tracking the contracts of their colleagues.
It's a full-time job. And this volatility brings us directly to these shocking confessions from Tamra Judge herself, who just pulled the curtain back on the strategy required to survive in reality TV.
This is where it gets really interesting, right? We're moving beyond rumors and into, well, performance.
And this admission is huge. It links personal well-being directly to professional success on the show. Tamra was incredibly candid. She confessed that she finds it difficult to, quote, make good reality TV when I'm not drunk.
That is a staggering admission. She's basically saying that her sober self does not generate the level of conflict and chaos that producers and, viewers demand.
She went even further.
Yeah.
She detailed the personal toll it takes. She admitted that she effectively, quote, becomes an alcoholic 3 months out of the year while they're filming. It suggests a calculated, self-imposed commitment to chemically altering her state just to lower her inhibitions, heighten her emotional reactions, and make sure she's dynamic enough to stay a full-time cast member.
So it's not an accident. It's a strategic choice she's making to guarantee she delivers content.
That's what she's saying. And this completely changes how you view every messy fight, every table flip, every meltdown on the show, doesn't it?
It really does. It raises some profound questions about the incentives that are built into these contracts. Is this show basically rewarding self-destruction?
Well, the sources suggest that if stars aren't generating headline-worthy conflict, they risk losing their orange. Tamra's transparency implies that being a sober, reasonable cast member is a threat to your job security. You are paid, and paid well, to be unreasonable, to be provocative, and to be chaotic.
Her admission is a direct critique of the industry's demand for that volatility.
It is. And speaking of cast members who strategically deliver chaos, Tamra then pivoted to call out a housewife who she believes is using the most effective but also the most duplicitous reality TV strategy of all.
The peacemaker, while secretly stirring the pot.
And she named Heather Gay from The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
And she was backed up on this by Dolores Catania from New Jersey, right?
She was. Dolores called that specific strategy effing dirty because it lets the manipulator keep their good guy image while making sure the drama never dies. And Tamra immediately responded, and the award goes to Heather Gay.
So what was their specific example? What led them to accuse Heather Gay of deploying this dirty strategy?
Their analysis was all focused on how Heather handled that recurring conflict between Meredith Marks and Brittany Bateman, the alleged but unaired flight drama.
Right, the drama that never seems to go away.
Exactly. Tamara and Dolores critiqued Heather's approach to resolving it, saying she avoids any genuine private discussion. Tamara claimed Heather doesn't want to have a one-on-one conversation with Meredith because she wants to do it in front of the entire group where she feels the strongest.
And that is the core difference between real life and reality television. In real life, you try to resolve things privately. On reality TV, you make sure the conflict happens publicly to maximize the scene.
Precisely. Dolores solidified that point, confirming Heather wants to do it in front of the group for the scene of it. Their overall critique was that this strategy just prevents any resolution, making the conflicts feel sophomoric and ensuring the drama never goes away.
And they made a good point. I mean, they pointed out the absurdity of it all. We have no proof of this plain argument, and since Meredith already apologized, constantly rehashing it.
It just looks like a bunch of bullies against Meredith. It's just a strategic prolongation of conflict purely for content.
It's a powerful observation. The true deep dive for us as viewers now isn't just watching the conflict, it's watching the strategy of how the conflict is deployed.
It is. And Tamara's admissions and her critique of Heather Gay, they just confirm that survival on these shows requires a conscious and often manipulative performance.
Which leads us seamlessly into our next section, where that line between an authentic personal relationship and a manufactured storyline becomes almost impossible to define. We're looking at loyalty, family lines, and the extreme use of language just to generate shock value.
And we have to start in Potomac. This is an incredibly sensitive situation involving Charisse Jackson Jordan, Ashley Darby, and Charisse's adult son, Jackson.
Charisse's reaction to Ashley admitting she had a romantic involvement with her son. It escalated dramatically.
It absolutely did. So Charisse was reacting to Ashley Darby admitting she had kissed and had other romantic encounters with her 27-year-old son, Jackson Jordan. Now, while a lot of people just saw it as inappropriate because they're friends, Charisse's outrage was on a completely different level.
What did she say?
On Carlos King's podcast, she labeled Ashley's behavior as tacky and, most explosively, incestual.
That's a nuclear word to use in a public conversation.
Yeah, it is.
Even if you're trying to express that a major boundary has been crossed. How does she justify using that specific term?
Well, she put it in the context of her own social and cultural framework. She explained that where she comes from, the principle is that your friends' kids are treated like nephews or brothers. They become, quasi-family.
Okay, so it's that extended family idea.
Right. So a friend pursuing a romantic or sexual relationship with her son crosses this fundamental, deeply felt social line, making the act feel incestual in that metaphorical sense. It speaks to a profound betrayal of trust.
But Charisse wasn't just outraged by the action itself. She was also deeply skeptical of the whole story, which echoes what Tamara was just saying about manufactured drama. She accused Ashley of lying.
Initially, yes. She flatly said she thought Ashley was lying and was just desperate for a storyline, pointing out that Ashley has been lying for 10 years on the show.
So what changed her mind? Or did it?
Her skepticism was only sort of softened after she spoke with Robin Dixon. Charisse claimed that Robin confirmed that she believed the story, because she supposedly heard details from Giselle Bryant.
And that triangulation that she said, leads directly to Charisse's really explosive accusation against the Green-Eyed Bandits.
This is the moment where Charisse just turns the critique of manufactured reality right back onto her co-stars. She claimed that she now believes Ashley and Giselle Bryant, quote, sit in the laboratory and create stories for everybody except themselves.
A laboratory. That word is so perfect. It suggests this cold, calculated, almost scientific approach to fabricating conflict.
It's a direct, detailed allegation that their main function on the show isn't to document their own authentic lives, but to collude, invent narratives, and then target other cast members with this manufactured drama. And in doing so, they maintain a degree of control over their own public image.
And what was the final straw for Charisse, the final layer of outrage?
It came down to timing and location. Ashley, during an appearance on Watch What Happens Live, implied she had been intimate with Jackson in Charisse's actual house.
Oh, wow.
And Charisse found the timing of that reveal to be particularly scandalous. She said Ashley should have said that when we were sitting in the restaurant, referring to their initial conversation on the show.
So she saw Ashley's choice to withhold the most provocative detail for a later, higher-rated platform as proof that it was all strategic.
Exactly. For Charisse, it confirmed Ashley was just trying to maximize the drama for viewer consumption. It's not just the action itself, but the deployment of the information that becomes the strategic crime. You save the in-my-house detail for the biggest possible reveal to get the maximum reaction.
It validates Charisse's claim of the laboratory. They know how to parcel out information strategically to keep their storylines going across different platforms.
Absolutely.
Okay, moving down to Charleston. Southern Charm gives us another angle on this loyalty and betrayal theme, specifically around Sally Carson, who faced some major accusations about not being a girl's girl.
The central conflict for Sally really revolved around her relationship choices. First, she pursued Craig Conover, even though Craig is known to be Vanita Aspen's nemesis.
Which was immediately seen as a violation of the unspoken girl's girl code. You don't date your friend's enemy.
Right. And then her position got even more complicated when she got upset that her friend, Charlie Manley, flirted with Craig.
So the hypocrisy charge seemed pretty unavoidable there. How did she defend herself against that?
On the Two Teas in a Pod podcast, Sally seemed genuinely frustrated. She argued that the context of Vanita's own history should matter. She pointed out that Vanita had previously associated with J.T. Thomas, a guy Sally hated because J.T. had allegedly tried to blackmail her.
So she was basically saying loyalty is a two-way street. If Vanita is maintaining questionable friendships, she can't then demand absolute loyalty from Sally regarding Craig.
That was her argument. The loyalty lines are just messy and constantly shifting based on who hates whom at any given moment.
It's reality TV dynamics in a nutshell.
It is. And even Tamra Judge weighed in on this, agreeing with Sally's defense. She noted, "I don't see anything that bad between Craig and Vanita that she has to make it out like he is the devil." Which suggests the depth of Vanita's animosity toward Craig might itself be, manufactured for a storyline.
And it seems like Sally herself is backing away from Craig now anyway. She's experienced the dreaded ick factor.
Yes. Sally hinted that her opinion of Craig Conover would change very drastically. And this was later confirmed on social media. She posted about the final ick having kicked in.
And what was the source of the ick?
This is what's fascinating. It was attributed to a gym video Craig posted using a facial filter.
A filter, that was it.
That was it. Sometimes the end of a reality TV relationship isn't some massive blowout fight, but something as simple as a badly chosen Instagram filter.
A small catalyst for a major decision. But the most explosive and honestly genuinely damaging information here came not from the show, but from a former co-star, Taylor Ann Green. The shade she threw across all acceptable boundaries.
Taylor Ann Green's comments were deeply personal, very specific, and arguably career-damaging. When fans compared Taylor to Sally, Taylor first responded sarcastically, saying she was only comparable because she's, quote, capable of manipulating a doctor into cheating on his wife.
Whoa. Okay, that is an immediate high-voltage accusation. She's tying Sally directly to an alleged affair and the manipulation of a professional. That is way beyond standard reality TV drama.
And it got worse. She didn't stop there. She followed up with another allegation accusing Sally of, quote, fully dating someone the entire time they were filming this past season while also trying to hook up with both Craig and Austin.
That second accusation is the definition of deception within the reality TV contract. If she was dating someone seriously off camera, her entire storyline of pursuing Craig and Austin would be completely fabricated.
Completely. Taylor's accusing Sally of not only being a manipulator who facilitated an affair, but also of deliberately deceiving production and the viewers by hiding her authentic relationship status just to create a marketable storyline.
It just confirms that the off-camera grudges often produce far more specific, vicious, and actionable accusations than the conflicts that actually air on Bravo.
It's a scorched earth strategy designed to completely undermine Sally's credibility.
Okay, finally, in this section, we move to the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City to confirm some relationship changes and look at some strategic boundary setting.
Yes, Bronwyn Newport and her estranged husband, Todd Bradley, have confirmed their separation. Bronwyn posted some old family photos on Instagram, which included Todd, and a fan, referencing their complicated history, questioned her choice to feature the cherry thief.
Right, the cherry thief being a direct reference to a past complex incident in their relationship. So how did Bronwyn explain why she included her estranged husband in these photos?
She clarified that the photos were all old and that Todd has been a major part of her life and holidays in the past. Her response was notably amicable. She said, "They will always want the best for each other and remember our time together happily."
So that suggests they're trying to navigate a relatively friendly separation, at least outside the drama of the show.
It seems so.
Now, Meredith Marks and Bronwyn have a very complicated history, especially involving their marriages. How did Meredith react to the separation news?
Meredith was extremely measured, which in itself is a strategic reaction. When she was asked about it on Watch What Happens Live, she only offered a very neutral comment, telling Bronwyn to do whatever works for her.
So she made a conscious decision not to get involved.
A very deliberate decision. She explained that it was a boundary she set based on past negative experiences.
Why the reticence?
Meredith explained that in a prior season, her attempts to support Bronwyn were, in her words, spun negatively by editors or cast members, making it look like she was taking Todd's side, which she insisted wasn't true.
So because her support was twisted and leveraged against her before.
She made a strategic choice to refuse any involvement in Bronwyn's marriage at any level again. She's managing her own personal brand by shutting down any avenue for misinterpretation or negative editing.
It's the ultimate lesson learned from being on a show, where everything you say is dissected and edited for maximum chaos. Protect your words at all costs.
It's a form of self-preservation. But regardless of Meredith's silence on the matter, Andy Cohen has confirmed this separation is too significant to ignore. He noted that the split will be a featured, central topic discussed at length during the upcoming reunion.
That makes perfect sense. A high-profile separation is guaranteed material to anchor the reunion discussion.
A necessary pivot.
We're going to pivot sharply now into our final section, which focuses on a different kind of controversy surrounding a different branch of reality TV royalty, the Kardashians. Specifically, Kim Kardashian's Christmas gift generated a massive public backlash, fueled by a well-known activist organization.
This all revolves around Kim Kardashian's Christmas gifts for her 4 children, North, Chicago, Saint, and Psalm. She confirmed on her Instagram story that each kid got a puppy, so she gifted 4 purebred Pomeranian puppies all at once.
And the moment those photos went live, PETA people for the ethical treatment of animals responded with a very strong statement. What was their central objection?
PETA's founder, Ingrid Newkirk, released a statement that directly criticized the choice to buy 4 purebred puppies instead of adopting from a shelter. The central thesis was delivered with this unyielding quote, "Puppies are not plushies."
That phrase says it all, really. They're viewing this as treating living beings like disposable luxury items, not as long-term, high-commitment family members.
Exactly. Newkirk called the act of ignoring the homeless animal crisis inexcusably callous, especially given the family's immense platform. The statement argues that Kim missed the chance to be a spokesperson for shelter pups and instead is being rightly slammed on social media for that.
So it's a powerful public shaming. Did PETA offer any specific path for Kim to, redeem herself for this?
They did. They provided 2 specific suggestions for Kim to make some amends. Ingrid Newkirk proposed that Kim could send their kids to volunteer at a local shelter, or that she could fund a local shelter adopt-a-thon, or at least 1 spay day.
So they're focused on practical, charitable solutions to offset what they see as an ethical failing.
Right. And it's worth noting that this family is under constant PETA scrutiny, isn't it?
They are. The sources note that this isn't an isolated incident. PETA also recently called out Khloe Kardashian for getting a Labrador puppy. It's a consistent pattern where PETA targets the family's pet choices as examples of luxury contributing to a larger crisis.
And beyond PETA, what was the general public debate around this 4-puppy gift?
The reaction online was varied, but it was heavily focused on practical concerns. The biggest criticism was about the logistics and the intense simultaneous commitment required. Like, who was going to provide full-time care training, grooming, walking for 4 high-energy puppies at once?
Right. One observer pointed out, no one in the family will be taking care of these dogs. They will have to hire a full-time dog person now.
And what was the worst-case scenario that people were worried about?
The fear was abandonment. Quick rehoming. One social media user wrote that the puppies will be returned, I'm sure. Or worse, when will people get it through their heads? Dogs are for life, not a gift.
And what was the defense?
The few defenses Kim received were basically that the pups are cute and that the family's wealth ensures they'd be well taken care of. But that defense kind of reinforces PETA's point, doesn't it? That these animals require a hired professional staff, which separates the act of getting a pet from the actual long-term responsibility of caring for it.
It's a perfect clash of celebrity luxury versus social responsibility, all wrapped up in a Christmas gift. And it wraps up our deep dive into this high-stakes, highly strategic, and sometimes deeply irresponsible world of reality stars.
A week defined by the convergence of financial ruin and narrative control.
So, to synthesize everything we've just discussed, in a rapid-fire summary, we've established major legal peril closing in. We have Denise Richards losing her eviction case over $84,000 in debt, and Erika Jayne's massive $25 million lawsuit now heading to a February 2026 trial after settlement talks completely collapsed.
And that's leveraged by admissions she made in a totally separate case. We've also seen the debate over reality versus fabrication just brought front and center. You have veteran Tamara Judge admitting she intentionally compromises her sobriety to create good reality TV.
And on the other side of that, Charisse Jackson Jordan explosively accusing Ashley Darby and Giselle Bryant of operating out of a laboratory to manufacture specific, targeted storylines against their castmates.
And then the intense social dynamics governing casting and friendship have been exposed. From the high-stakes rumor that Heather Dubrow might lose her orange, to Vicki Gunvalson, to Taylor Ann Green leveling these career-damaging accusations of manipulation, infidelity, and deception against Sally Carson.
It really proves that the shade thrown off camera is often far harsher and more specific than the scripted drama that ends up airing.
It highlights this pervasive theme running through every single story. Whether they're facing financial jeopardy or career stagnation, everything is now strategic, it's calculated, and it's often based on self-sacrifice or just outright manipulation. Which raises a really important final question for you, the listener, to mull over.
Okay, what is this?
Given the overwhelming evidence we've seen of stars trapped by their financial jeopardy, forcing them to manipulate their storylines like Tamara's admission about chemically altering her state, contrasted with stars who seem to fabricate simply as a core survival strategy, like Charisse's claim about Ashley and Giselle's laboratory, are we as viewers now witnessing conflicts that were once authentic being merely monetized, or is the reality genre entirely reliant on this scripted layer of intentional personal destruction and narrative fabrication to maintain viewer interest and the massive salaries required to keep the stars on screen?